Hey, PS, great. The last digit of your like on this video is someone from the meme background, and the last digit of your subscription to my channel will show your subject from the meme background. So come down right now, subscribe and like. Look at the screen, pay attention to the last digit of your like and your subscription. And write someone from chalk background in the comments. It's simple, if your like is the 8th, and the last digit of the subscription is number 5, then you are a lemon with a cactus. Show your imagination and enjoy your viewing. And great, dear friends, you're on the Melancholy channel. In this video, we will talk about dynamic lighting, about the change of day and night, and about a new other Mayam background. But before the start of the video, as always, I want to say a huge thank you to these guys for getting into my videos, and if you want to get into my next videos, then you just need to subscribe to the channel to put a drug, write your top comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the cart, the link is as always in the description. In general, I will not go for your time and enjoy your viewing. As you already know, there is no such thing as night or just lighting in the cute playground, everything is in such a static ordinary light, as such there is no shadow or anything else there, which makes the game very boring. And if the game is boring, then when there are no updates, we just make it a little more interesting. Personally, I tried to do something for myself that was very similar to normal, more or less adequate lighting in the chalk background. And I also tried to implement the change of day and night. After all, the change of day and night gives dynamism to the game, which in principle has a very positive effect on the atmosphere of this game. Imagine, you're sitting like this, doing nothing and you just start laughing day and night. This is how much content, in principle, could be done. And in addition to the content, it is interesting in principle and generates a lot of myths, Easter eggs, and so on, which would be very interesting to me. And let's turn to the screen right now and see what I tried to do. I tried to make a day in principle, but the day is like an unusual map, and in principle, how to make it look like some kind of dynamic weather change. More precisely, not the weather, but in the principle of lighting and in the principle of the time of day. Look at the screen. We have now added the sun, which is not just static, it moves, it entails shadows, on the usual working, let's say, background of the Mayam playground. Unfortunately, I couldn't draw the shadows adequately and so I decided to just not show what I did. But I am sure that there will be modelers who draw very cool, in principle work with lighting and understand how physics works, and I think they will be able to implement it. But for now, in fact, it's just an image that floats by itself on the screen. But in principle, it's already somehow nicer to watch. And looking at the sun, you roughly understand when we will have a day, and when we will have a night. Look, we just have the sun floating and at one certain moment it will hide behind the map. And when it disappears behind the map, the lighting, in principle, the color of our map will change. It will be darkened and replaced by another exposure. We will have less exposure, we will have different lighting, we will basically have a different color of the map and everything will be dark, which is very cool to me. In the accelerated shooting, I hope I will do an accelerated shooting, you can see how our sun is already slowly going into the sunset and the color of our map is also changing accordingly. It becomes more so blue and let's assume that it will just be nocturnal. And it seems to me it would be interesting if the clouds were not in the role of parallax. They would be interesting if they flew by themselves in any order on the map. It would be, in principle, more interesting for me. In the meantime, they are implemented in the form of a parallax in a nice background. I hope the developers will fix it someday. And look, our day has already been replaced by night, if you look at the image on the screen. And when day turns to night, we have some magic. We have a moon that also swims from one point of the map to another, which is very cool for me, because imagine you are sitting on the map, you realize that night has already come and the moon will appear soon. And with the help of the moon, we can determine how long our night is and how long our day is. I made the day longer than the night. As for me, this is much more interesting and, in principle, similar to the truth. After all, a summer night is usually much shorter than a day in principle. And I tried to implement it in the background itself. Our night is much shorter than the day and, accordingly, when the moon closes behind the map and the day comes again. And it will be cyclical every time. It's not difficult to implement, would you agree? Just do a couple of actions, but how much does it affect the atmosphere of the game? Just imagine, you are sitting and your day changes with night. This is dynamic lighting, dynamic change of time of day. It's just an IMBA and, in principle, all developers of any games are trying to implement this system. And as for me, our developers should implement this system. Accordingly, when we have day and night, there is basically any lighting Melon background. As I said before, I could not implement adequate shadows, but I still dared to draw adequate more or less lighting. And look, when we have night around on the map, we can have lighting inside the building. How can this be done? And it's very simple, with the help of lanterns, lamps, and so on. Imagine if we added such an opportunity as adding lamps with electricity, we would have a huge number of generators that generated electricity. Suddenly imagine how much you can add interesting things to the world of a cute playground, how much it can expand in its concept. And they add some kind of laser gun to us, which has been doing for a whole month. Just imagine, the global update did not come out for a whole month. It's just a huge time. And if some trifling update is rolled out to us, then to be honest, as always, I will do some kind of coming out, some kind of diss on developers. I do not know how to understand them a little, because he's been working on a new one for a month, and if this update is so, add some gates and swords, I'll just be shocked. Well, in the meantime, this is the kind of lighting we have. Just look, we have, let's say, night around our whole kingdom, but it's light inside the building, and all this works thanks to our lighting. And I think it would be very cool. Well, if we have a night, which means there should be natural lighting, it's probably some kind of bonfire. Pay attention to the screen. If you look at the screen right now, you will see a small fire that gives a soft, pleasant orange light. It would be very cool. It would be possible to implement a huge number of ideas, such as torches, flashlights, I do not know, bonfires. It would be possible to fry on it, Melona. It would just be very interesting and fun. What do you think about it? Write in the comments. And write in the comments if you like my idea and how you rate it from 1 to 10. This video is coming to an end. Thank you all for watching. Good luck to everyone so far, and I remember my friend, as always, see you one of these days.